Our Opinion. My name is Tamika.
I'm Kim.
And I'm Ross.
And today we're going to talk about reasons why people or reasons why women are independent. So speaking of independent women, I guess we should start off saying Happy Mother's Day to
Happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Happy Mother's Day.
to our independent women.
And non-independent women.
That's true, because there are a couple of those out there as well.
I mean, it is what it is. So, just to jump into the topic, some reasons why, women are independent are by choice, right? Some reasons are by choice, and some are not by choice. So, I guess what would fall under the umbrella of choice would be, just that woman that want to feel independent, want to feel as though they don't have to depend on a man to manage their day-to-day life. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to have to feel like they have to ask for certain moves that they make financially. If you want to go and buy a car, you can go buy a car. You don't have to discuss it with your significant other or spouse, however your situation or whatever way your situation is. But that's just one of those an example of by choice. But then you have I guess examples that are kind of not by choice. So it could be divorce. You get divorced. Now you're really being forced into being independent, especially if you have children. Now you're really forced because you're doing everything solo dolo. And it could be the same with death. I guess divorce and death kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But just to, set the platform. So what do you ladies think?
Well, personally, I had to become an independent woman when I decided I was going to leave my parents' house. I moved away to California at a young age, and I just did it. I don't even think I had clothes. I took a week's worth of clothes, and I was gone. In that time, I found a job, and even though I wasn't alone for long, because eventually I did meet a man, and I got married, and we became a unit. So basically the independence that I gained just being there by myself, I think that I used that to be able to go into our marriage and be able to support what dreams we had together as an independent person. I was able to be that helpmate, if that's what you call, to my husband. And basically I just used that to follow, throughout my entire adult life. We came from a strong knit family of women that are all truly independent, self-sufficient, and some have husbands, some had husbands, some have husbands, or whatever the case may be, but we have all been able to survive and maintain at a high level. Even when I look at some of the women that aren't directly in our immediate family, even those women, I can see the strength in them. And I've learned something from each individual one as I've grown. So that's just my opinion on how I became an independent woman and how I used that to transition into not being independent, because I have a husband who can support me and all of that, but I still, like Fabulous say, want to match my man's swag. So what that is.
There you go. So Roz?
Well, for me, of course, I became independent, leaving my parents' home. Also, I had my first child when I was 17, and I also got married when I was 17. But even with me being married, I still feel like that I was independent. My husband then, he did take care of things, but it still made me independent because I was a mom. I don't think independency, we have to kind of set a definition for that, because I don't think it only has to do with finances.
So
I think it has to do with more than finances. we have to be able to take care of ourselves, because what if, you know, the spouse lose a job, or the spouse, you know, God forbid something happen, you know, we need that strength. The independency I'm talking about is the strength part. The finance is just going to automatically come along. You're going to have to figure that out anyway if something happens.
Right.
But I believe most women are independent because of the strength, and we have to be that way. Some women think they aren't independent, but I believe they don't know that they are.
Yeah.
Because they have to do certain things, and the strength has to come in, and they have to do the finances and all this and that. So that's what makes us independent women, and especially the ones that don't think that they are independent. I don't think it only has to do with finances.
It doesn't. You know, that's a major part of it. The strength. I mean, because if you don't have the strength to even the wherewithal to understand who you are as a person, then you have no ability to be independent, because at that point you're only going to gravitate to someone who you think can take care of you. And if you gravitate into that type of person, now you subject to what that person got to offer you. So I mean, that could have you be in any old kind of place, you know what I mean? Some place you really didn't think you was gonna wake up and be in.
Right.
Honestly, I mean, I just seen that firsthand. So
Yeah.
you know, you just have to kind of really understand who you are as a person, I think, which is what makes you independent.
Okay, so for me, personally, I think I was always independent. So I agree with Kim, just because we have the same family. So that's true. So I think that it was something that was always in me. Like even as a kid, like my mother would be like, you know, you got to get off the phone at a certain time. Next thing she knew, she saw AT&T coming to the house. I was getting a phone put in my room. I had a whole different line, so nobody tell me to get off the phone, right?
Yeah.
I took charge, right? So I've always kind of had that. But then I too had gotten married, and you know, as we all think, you know, you get married, it's gonna be forever, you know, and then we had our daughter, and then it didn't work out, you know. So once we divorced, that was truly like kind of going along with you. Like I always felt like I was independent, and I knew that, but I guess I hadn't really truly tapped into it like I thought I probably had, until we divorced, or even before the divorce, just separated, you know, no longer living in the same household, really not having that hands-on help a little bit with our daughter and stuff like that, and then really being the primary parent on all levels, you know, even financial. You know, we had a episode we did on child support and stuff like that. So financially, I did it all, dropped off, picked up with the help of my in-laws, who were wonderful. If it wasn't for them with that, I don't know what I would have done. But that's when I felt my true independence. Like, oh, okay, I got this. You know what I'm saying? I could do this. And sometimes it was very hard, but it you know, it got done, and I still deal with the challenges sometimes today, because as these kids grow, they're growing into young men or young women, and you're dealing with those issues. And again, it's the same kind of concept. I mean, because of course it's not all financially, it's emotionally, it's puberty that they go through, you know what I'm saying? It's, you know, in my case, because I have a daughter and she'll be 14, it's, you know, with not having a man in the house, by the grace of God, she's had good men, good role models, you know, her grandfather, you know, her uncles, her cousins that are men, and, you know, whatever. You know, my ex, who was very influential in her life, you know what I'm saying, and really good to her. So, things like that, you know, but that's when it tapped in for me, just to say how it just kicked in. But, you know, I just agree with you as far as saying it's not all financial. It is a big part, but it's not. It's so many different stages.
Right. So let me ask the question, why do you think people sometimes get offended, or men get offended, when we say you know, we're these strong black independent women, or, you know,
I think it's a stigma.
whatever color?
I think, well, I'm going to stick with black, because I just think it's a stigma, you know, or what I've heard, okay, what I've heard men say. If we go black and white, you know, they would say, you know, we are too strong, you know what I'm saying? The head rolling or eyes rolling, neck roll, you know, we got this presence, this energy that comes off that could possibly come off demeaning or really hard, like I don't need a man. So it's like demeaning the man, kind of like, you know, like, okay, I could pay my own bills, I could do this, so I really don't need you. So like if it's an argument or something, you know, that presence, I guess, will come out or have come out. And I've heard with, you know, white women, they're more submissive, you know, they're I guess submissive. I don't know. That's just what I've heard. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying what I've heard from different men, especially the men that I know that would prefer to deal with a white woman versus a black woman. That's what I would always get. Like, they're more submissive. They don't give all that attitude. They don't clap back. They don't do all of that. Personally, you know, I don't know. You know what I don't know. But what I will say is I'm a black woman, right? And I've been in relationships, and you know, and I'm a strong black woman, you know what I'm saying? And I don't present like all like that, but I think whoever I deal with, you know, or have dealt with, right, they know that. Like, they know, they see me for who I am. They know how I get down. They know me as a mother, you know, they know me as far as my work ethic. They know me and how I get down, whether it was on a school level. So they know. I don't even deal with, you know, like me and my ex, we didn't even deal with that. Like, you know, and I never demeaned him either.
Right.
I never demeaned him though.
So let me ask this question, Kim. Why do you think men feel like when we say we strong black independent women and we don't need a man? What's wrong with not needing a man but we want you? So why we have to say we don't need you but we want you? Or
Well, no, because we do need a man. That's why God created him.
Right, but that's my thing. Some of us say we don't need them, but we want them. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, a woman
we really
says that they need
them.
a man. No, you need a man, and I have run into two women that I have heard say that. And I told them, nah, baby, you do need a man. That's why God created him, unless you with another woman. But, I mean, you don't need a man, you know, financially. And I believe you need him financially, too. Because two is always better than one.
Amen.
Okay? Any day. So, I mean, for me to hear a woman say that you don't need a man, I just really let that go in one ear and out the other, because at the end of the day, everybody need love.
Right.
Everybody wants somebody to hold them at night. Everybody want to be kissed at night. Everybody want to have a partner that you can go to the movies with and you can walk with and talk with. So there is no such thing as not needing a man. Now, granted, if you say you don't want one, then that's something else.
Yeah.
You don't want him. But to say that you don't need him, no, that's not even real to me. You don't know what you're talking about.
So why do we say that as women? Why do we?
I don't know why you say it, because I ain't never said that, because I know I need my man.
We need that other woman that's gonna sit and tell us why. Because it's not us. So I can't even answer that question.
Right,
and I mean, and currently I don't have a man now, but I know that, you know, I would never say I don't need one.
And
I'm selective.
Right.
Just because I like companionship don't mean I'm going to take
maybe that's what they mean.
And maybe that's what they mean.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to deal with every man that try to approach me, because I might not, you know, I might not have no interest in you. But, you know, but to say that I don't need one, no. But I am very selective in who I choose.
And that makes a lot of sense, too.
Yeah.
It does. It makes a lot of sense. But it floors me how women do always say that they don't need a man, but actually we do. And not only do, we want a man, but they be feeling like they don't want a man.
Yeah.
and then they throw
It's
the
a certain
man
type
off.
of man. It's just certain,
Yes.
and I think it's just that.
It's
It's
a
a certain type of man that really fall on them because you're actually attracting
That type of man.
that type of man.
So that's why you don't need.
So really, you right. So
You
you know, when I really think about it, and certain people that I'm thinking about in my head, it's like they always attract a certain type, and they don't be happy, you know, and then they be the ones that's kind of like, I don't need no man, right? You just don't need that type of man.
Right.
And I think that's exactly what they're trying to say, but not really communicating it well, you know.
Right.
And I believe that a lot of times, you know, there are some women out here that are truly demeaning to a man. When a woman can reach a certain plateau in her life and she has built up walls, especially emotional walls from being hurt, I think that to make some women in power will try and make a man submissive to them. I mean, it's just a man wouldn't say that if it wasn't true. So they have at some point met a woman that has been demeaning to them, and even though, I mean, you may make $1 million, he may make $30,000, but he didn't go to college. He didn't go to, you know, he didn't have the means to be able to follow that dream, but he still has a job. He still gets up and goes, but it's not $1 million. And some women just can't get with that. But I mean, this is who you chose. This is the life that he is providing. Now, granted, you went on and did more, but that still doesn't give you the reason to make him less than or feel little. Smaller, or I don't know what the word
Just
is. I'm trying
demeaning.
to you because of that, and I think that just comes from, you know, being in a powerful situation. I mean, I look at, or being a bully. You know, they always say, Halle Berry say, Jennifer Lopez say, you know, they have to be a certain type of woman to deal with an industry full of men. So if you build that strength up inside you to deal with that, so then you could actually bring it home. And that's why, you know, Halle don't have no husband right now, and Jennifer done had 4 or 5, because you got to have, you have to be able to deal with a room full of men, and you the only woman. You have to be able to deal with that. So I mean, that could be too, I think, why men say that. And white women, maybe they are more submissive. Maybe they are, and maybe
they go with the flow.
And maybe they go with the flow because of the fact that, you know, they have a black man. So they have a black man. They feel like they want to build him up, and maybe they want to build him up because how people brought him down. I don't know.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's very hard. I wish on this segment we should have had, because I got plenty of white girlfriends. I probably, you know, it would have been nice to have somebody on that could give that perspective, because you know, I don't know, but from this end, you know, you just hear those little funny stories, you know, and they be demeaning. They're demeaning a little bit toward them, but it's more just like, oh, you know, he could just say whatever and they just do whatever, and then when it comes to us,
I don't believe that to be true.
We don't, you know, we have an opinion. Like, if you want to do this, we might be like, I don't think that's a good idea.
I think there are some white women that are.
But definitely.
Yeah, there are. I don't think that's the case 100%. I mean, yeah, I just can't really see that. I can't really see you just letting somebody come in and just walk all. I mean, maybe there are some. Let me just say that there may be.
And that's not even a color thing.
Yeah, but I just can't see that.
Some men have the potential of, some men have the potential to do that. So, okay, so another, what do you guys think about, okay, would you consider a woman on assistance, you know, an independent woman?
Yeah, because she had to go downtown and stand in that line and get the assistance.
Funny.
Yes, it is. I mean, it ain't funny, but I'm sorry, excuse me. I'm sorry. Have you ever went downtown and stood in the line? to get assistance.
I don't think
I mean, this
that
is a
she's
real.
independent. She's independent as far as the finance part of the
Right, like is she an independent
But-
woman? Like, because somebody brought this to my. This is actually a question that was somebody asked me to ask this on the show. Like, would you consider a woman on assistance an independent woman because she's being supported by our tax dollars or who's ever, our tax dollars? Would you consider her an independent woman? I
don't
say
know.
yes.
I guess it depends on how you define them.
I'm gonna. This is how I'm.
Define it.
This
How
is
you
how,
defined it.
for me personally, this is how I'm defining it. For those women, because I know a lady, and she has a couple kids, and she's a single mom, right? But she's an A1 mother. You know what I'm saying? She's trying to go to school. She's on physical. She's on public assistance. But she's A1. She goes to school. She makes sure her kids are okay. They go to school. They're good kids. She's home. When they get home, she cooks for them. She gets the assistance that she needs to have more than one child, single, and and she's still kind of present with her children versus having to work 2 or 3 jobs, probably never at home. You know what I'm saying? It's not what she's looking to be on forever.
I think
It's
she's
a stepping
good mom.
stone.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a
an
stepping
independent
stone
woman.
until she gets her degree.
As long as you're using it as a stepping stone.
Correct.
And that's not
So
something.
that's my.
disagree.
So that's my
30
definition.
years on welfare ain't a good look for me.
I disagree, and I'm not saying it because I was on assistance before when and I don't want to say this, but
Why not?
Greg, I mean, Roz, I would look at you real crazy if you were sitting in here as grown as you is on assistance, trying to get assistance
I'm saying when my children were younger, my first quit his job where he wouldn't have to pay me alimony and child support. I'm just being real about it, and I had to get on assistance at that time.
Right.
And I was on assistance for a couple of years at that time, but I don't feel like that those women are independent because you're depending on the system. So I think I was a good mom, and I think that I did the best that I could, but I
Right.
don't think that I was an independent woman, so I disagree with that.
Well, no, you.
Okay, well that's your opinion.
Okay.
Right, and that's my
You
opinion.
right, yeah.
That's true, and I
That's
don't
That's
argue.
your opinion. But in my opinion, states
You had to do what you had to do.
you were
Yes.
independent
because you had to
because
do
you
what had to do.
made a move. That by itself is
It's
independence.
independence.
It's like, okay,
Yes.
this is what I have to do to make sure my kids are okay. And it was a temporary thing, again, so with Kim, yeah, like if you want it like 30 years and you're not trying to make no move, so I don't think you said anything different from the example that I just gave, but that is the reason why I feel like she's independent. She did what she had to do. She had 3 kids. She didn't want to have to be nowhere working 2 and 3 jobs to pay all the
And
bills
that's
and
me
never
also.
be able to spend time with her
that was
children.
me also, but I
Right.
don't feel like that I was independent then because I was dependent on something.
The
Well,
Assistance.
everybody at some
And I'm
point
just
you're going to
saying,
be dependent
personally.
on something or someone. We all go through trials and tribulations in our lifetime where you going to need somebody.
Right,
I
whether
mean,
it's the system
but
or
when
whether
we're-
it's a family member.
Right.
And if we talking about
But we're talking
independence,
about
it's not.
independent
That's not
women.
right. But that's not the meaning. You're independent. What that's saying is that I need help.
Right, and that's
That's
a
what that's
difference.
saying. There's a
But
difference.
we realize one thing about women, most smart women and intelligent women and women who, are go-getters and strong women, we recognize when we need help.
Right.
And if we
Correct.
need help, especially if we have children, we're going to do whatever we can. We're like, a bear with our with our cubs, as far as our children are, concerned. But in my opinion, I just feel like every woman is not independent. And at that point in my life, when I was in my early 20s, I just don't believe that I was independent. I believe I became independent later on, and it didn't only have to do with the finances. It had to do with me
Right.
being a single parent for a certain
Well, that's
point
you
in time.
finding your womanhood. That's you finding your womanhood and that's you finding your mojo. That's you.
I still disagree.
That's-
But it's fine. We
Well,
all
that's
have
why
our
this
own
is called
opinion.
Our Opinion.
I know. So I'm just, my opinion is I disagree with you, Rosalind.
It's okay.
I believe you were very independent
At that time.
at that time.
Yes. And I would have supported you, and I would have gave you money, and I would have helped you. And
It
I
was
would've
all
lifted
about
you up
help.
because
It's about 30
there's
years.
a difference.
It's a difference, yes, because it's some people who like, this is the gig, and this is it. Like, this is what they do.
Oh, no,
They
I
don't
went to school
care
and
to really
everything.
get a
Yeah.
job. They get that check, they get those food stamps, this is it. You know what I'm saying?
and they downtown right now.
And that's what make it different. It's not to say that any woman or any male, for that matter, who has been on assistance for any reason is a belittling thing. Everybody needs help. It's all about what are you doing with that help.
Exactly.
Are you gonna just stay there, or are you gonna, get yourself in a better position where you can get off
Right.
and leave that open for that next person who
Right.
may need help.
Right.
It's a difference. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I never
That's
look
true.
down. Like, hey,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
I
You got-
clearly don't look down because
Yeah,
I was
I
in
never
that
knocked
predicament.
nobody.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think we do.
Yeah,
I'm just saying in general.
No,
like,
because
it
I've
was
been
just a
there and
question.
done that.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
And as far as me
For
being
sure.
there, not only did I been there, done that, I came out.
Of that.
You know,
Correct.
You know, through dreams and plans and aspirations and goals.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
you can't stay. You have some families who, make it a generational curse where,
That's
Yeah.
what I'm
the daughter,
that's what
the
I'm
grandmother,
saying.
so the mother,
They
so
training
the
them.
child.
Yeah.
This is what you do. As soon as you turn 17, 18, let's go downtown. It's like,
Yeah.
I've seen that. So that was just a question that one of my friends thought it would have been good to kind of bring up and just get some feedback,
That's true. It's a lot of different aspects of it, I do believe. I mean, there's so many. I don't even think we could probably touch on all of them
We can't.
as of now. But when we talk about independent women and how we're independent versus how our parents are independent, our mothers, our grandmothers, when we look back on their independence, what we thought was their independence versus what is our independence. I mean, how's that's changed so much, because I mean, we had women back in the day who, my grandmother did hair in her kitchen.
In the kitchen, sure.
Yes,
Mine
right
did
now.
too.
Yeah.
And she did hair in the kitchen. We was over her house every Saturday morning before.
Hating it. Couldn't even go outside to play. Had to get our hair
Yes, she
straightened.
always did hair in the kitchen and did it and was a hairstylist, maybe let me say.
Yeah.
Until probably
10 years ago?
10 years ago.
And
15
she's
years
what,
ago.
85?
Yeah, right now she had tried, and my sister would beg her to do her hair, but I'd be like, girl, she gonna drop that iron down your back, you gonna be messed up. But I'm serious, but can't nobody press like grandma.
Yeah.
There's no way.
From Alabama.
Yes, and I mean, I look at my mother. I mean, she just recently retired from being a nurse, and this is a woman who did not have to work. She hasn't had to work
Exactly.
since she married my father. She did not, but did. And when I talk to my friends now, they always told me, when I grow up, I want to be like her. So when you look at since it's Mother's Day,
Yes.
and we talking about it, that right there is an inspiration of independence. When as a young child, you can see where you want to go through the eyes of another woman. That's
you go.
independent. I look at my auntie. My auntie has some learning things, but she has never let that stop her from achieving anything. And I mean, she has gone through stuff, and we all know, but I can look at the strength in her and know that if she can do this, we can do it.
So I want to piggyback.
Okay.
So, because I was really gonna go into that, because that's my mother that she's talking about. So, with that being said, my mother has dyslexia. So, my mother was born in 55. So back then, they really didn't know like what that was. Like they didn't know. And I don't think a lot of people really knew about dyslexia for real until like Bill Cosby came out about his son. That's
Right.
just whatever. That just takes me to that. But so basically she sees words backward. So it wasn't that she didn't know it or she couldn't, but they didn't understand how she was saying things. And later on I found out from grandma that my grandfather had that. So this is where it comes from her father. So, but with that being said, and I will say this, my mother was married. Shout out to my dad, B. Coleman. But he was the bomb. He was he was straight A student. He's a very brilliant man. He's very smart. So when my mother decided to, she actually got a job at Ford. So that was kind of good for her because it wasn't a job that required like a lot of reading or, you know, just it's a factory job. But it was a job that paid very well. So she worked it for a couple of years, and then after that, oh my, don't be mad at me, I'm putting all your business out. But after that, but it's my inspiration, and it truly is. After that, she got laid off though, right? So when she got laid off, it was like, what am I about to do, right? So she decided to go to school, but this was the challenge for her. But this is where her independence kicked in, and this is what made me very proud of her. So my dad would read all her books, because my mother went to school for hair, so she has her license in hair as well. So she, my dad would read all her hair books, every last one. I would watch him. He did this for like a month. It would take so much time to read each word, so then she could listen. Now you talking about a partner, right?
Right.
So she could listen to his voice reading the book to her. She wouldn't pass boards like that. If it wasn't for my father,
Wow.
I mean, it made it easier for her. I feel like she still would have did it, but it made it easier for her. So that's even giving shout outs to, you know, like talking about a partner. You an independent woman. She was very independent, but she needed that man.
Partner, right.
And look where
Right.
he came in,
Yeah,
right?
We definitely need our men. I don't understand why some people think we don't.
Because you
need a
do.
man.
You never
And that's
know.
because they say that because they ain't never had the right one.
Right. And that was a partner for you. So, you know, with her doing that, so then she did hair. She was able to take care of her children, myself and my brother. And then, you know, unfortunately, after 17 years of marriage, they divorced. But then she got rehired back at Ford. So she ended up just, you know, doing the Ford thing. But I'm just saying, like, you know, she just never, real talk, I don't care if words was backward or whatever, it never stopped her money.
Right.
My mother's smarter. when I tell you,
When it
and I've
comes to some
heard
money,
that common sense will beat out book smarts any day of the week. In some instances, that's true. My mother owned property. She got money. She know money. And she know business. And she did that solo. So, happy Mother's Day, Mama.
Yes.
Next.
Well, Bryce, I saw that your mother is no longer with us.
Yeah.
Rest in heaven.
Even still, there are things that I'm sure that she showed you or instilled in you or was able to, you know, that you can reflect on in your life today that made you who you are today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
My mother was a strong Black independent woman. Her and my father, they dated when they was in the 8th grade and got married when they was 17. That's probably where I got it from.
well,
But yeah, she was strong and she took care of the household. I don't even really remember seeing my father in the household much because he worked a lot or whatever. Or he did whatever it is he wanted to do. But I remember seeing my mom cook, clean, throw card games to make money. Like back in the day, she went to bingo. I remember her clothing us. It was 6 of us, 1 brother, and I have 4 sisters. My brother was the oldest. He's deceased also. So I remember her doing a lot, and I remember her strength in trying to take care of 5 girls. I'm not even talking about my brother, but taking care of 5 girls, and
is
we're
enough.
on stair steps. And when I say stair steps, she did not take a break
Yeah.
in between. We're literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, so
Yeah.
you know, she was a strong Black independent woman. And anybody know my mother, they'll tell you her strength was she just didn't play. And they call her sister because if anybody needed advice, if anybody needed anything done, and her and my dad, I think both of them only had probably like a 9th grade or 10th grade education, but
That's how
That
Granddad Carson
that didn't
was.
stop
And
anything.
he had a
That
whole
didn't stop
organization.
anything. That didn't stop anything. But you know, may she rest in peace. But happy Mother's Day to her also.
Yes.
Right. And Nikki, happy Mother's Day to your mother as well, because I know you
Yes.
watch and you couldn't be here with us, but happy Mother's Day, Mom.
And happy Mother's Day to you too, Nick.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, everybody, I guess that's the end of our episode today. We kind of cut it short, and so we just want to enjoy our weekend. We want you to enjoy your weekend. Take your mothers out. Just let's celebrate each other. Let's lift each other up. You know, we all are independent in some way, shape, or form. We just got to be able to show each other and instill it in each other, so that way we still feel empowered to be who we are supposed to be, and embracing our men at the same time, to let them know that even though I'm up here and you may be down here, power only stay in the same hand for a certain amount of time, so roles can change at any time.
That's right.
But
right.
we got to just uplift one another, support one another. I wish everybody the best. Like I said, God bless you. Thank you for all your support, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Peace.